The technology on hydrogen fuel cells is very plausible. It's something that's been around since the space program. Hydrogen fuel cells were used on the Gemini and Apollo spacecrafts for electricity production. I suppose the biggest problem right now, facing the American public jumping on the bandwagon, is the infrastructure. Where are your hydrogen fuel stations? Where do you plan on taking your hydrogen fuel car and fueling up? That doesn't exist.
The major issue is where you get that initial energy supply.
A lot of folks come with preconceived notions that nuclear power causes mutation. It causes from a distance birth defects, the increased rate of cancer, so forth. It's just so many misconceptions in the public about how nuclear power works now. It's hard to convince people that it's safe. Where do you put the waste? How do you ship it safely? How do you make sure nothing happens to it en route to where it's supposed to be? How do you even convince the public that it's safe to put it in a geologic repository? If you look at the difficulties we've had with Yucca Mountain, Nevada, that place still isn't open for business. And so where is nuclear waste being stored? On the Idaho National Laboratory, on Idaho land, where unfortunately it's not what I would call a safe location. It's sitting on top of a freshwater aquifer that we depend on.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people who, for the right reasons, stop the shipments, leave it here. What are you planning on doing when the casks deteriorate? I don't even know what they're sitting in. I'm not going to conjecture about that, but is it safe where it is?
The three biggest cons are the issue of waste disposal, expense for initial construction, and public perception as to how safe it is. Those are the three biggest arguments against.
You realize we can recycle nuclear waste?
We can, huh?
A worker at a nuclear power plant is exposed to more radiation than you and I are, but not significantly greater. Perhaps 1 to 2 millirims more than the average citizen. The current average exposure in the U.S. is 360 millirims per year. That could be from the food you eat, to cosmic radiation, to whether or not a person is a smoker, to how many medical x-rays and which kinds you gain throughout the year, to how often you get on an airplane and fly at a high altitude, to the highest job risks, which would be astronaut, outside of the atmosphere altogether. You're not seeing the building of plants anymore. You see proposals, and then nothing happens.
And the dreams that you dare to, oh why can't well, I see trees of green and red roses too. I'll watch them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Well, I see skies of blue and clouds of white and the brightness of day. I like the dark and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands.